Enjoy local voices. Enjoy local opinions. All on one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts, featuring some of the DC area's best personalities, pundits, and provocateurs. Earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts you love instantly. With new programs being added every week, don't hesitate. Download Podcast DC now for free. Available in the App Store or in Google Play. Podcast DC. Listen local.
Black woman. Beautiful, powerful, resilient female of African descent with skin kissed by the sun. Conversation. A talk, especially an informal one between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. We love being Black women. Black women are ambitious. Black women are confident. Black women are diligent. We are tenacious. We walk out of our houses put together. We are many shades and personalities of fabulous. But we as Black women don't talk about our dilemmas, current events, and what's going on every day that affects us. So we created this podcast as a way to laugh together, cry together, and have an open conversation about life as Black women.
Oh, that's deep. Black Women Conversations.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Johnny.
So, guys, we're on vacay, and you're going to be listening to the best of episode of season 1 of Oh, That's Deep, Black Women Conversations, the podcast.
And scene, go.
I have another scenario, and this scenario came to me via my husband, as a matter of fact. So, I would say that this is one of my husband's friends, but he made it very clear that this is not his friend. It's just a Facebook acquaintance. So I'm gonna go through the story, and I will not mention names or locations to protect the innocent. There's a young lady that my husband knows. She is in her 40s. So she's not super young, but she's in her 40s. And she met an older gentleman. And so this is kind of the opposite situation of August and Jada. She met an older gentleman, and he was married. Right. And he was separated from his wife, had been separated for some years. And she verified they lived in separate houses. It was very clear that they were separated. Right. And so she befriended him. And in the process of befriending him, he gave her some money to purchase a boat. And they were friends. The relationship wasn't romantic. At first, it was not romantic. They were friends for some years. And when they became romantic, she realized that she just wasn't interested in being with a man that was that much older than her. He was 22 specifically years older than her. So she's 47 and he is 69. So she realized that it wasn't her interest to be with someone that was that much older. So she separated from the relationship. They maintained their friendship, but they were a bit more distant. And we're talking, checking in maybe once every couple of weeks or once a month, just a phone call or a quick, message to say, hey, just making sure you're still there and everything's well, and moved on. And he went, to her knowledge, back to his wife. Fast forward a couple of years later, she flips properties for a living. So she is at one of her properties, flipping the home, working outside, and up pulls a SUV with a woman and children in tow. And it is her friend's wife. And she is outside of her property, calling her homewrecker, telling her that, she needs to stop messing with her husband, so on and so forth, and continues on with the children in the back of the car, mind you, and continues on and basically tells this lady, you've wrecked my home. And she's confused. She's genuinely confused because she's been still communicating with this man, but it's no romantic relation. They're not in a situation where they've even seen each other in person within the last year. And it's not just because of COVID. She genuinely decided that she was moving on, right? And she is now in another relationship with someone else. And the wife is showing up at her place of work, for lack of better terms, and confronting her about messing with her husband. Well, the older man that's her friend, has decided to leave his wife now because he wanted to be with my husband's friend, in air quotes, right? So she now is presented with an issue because this man is leaving his wife for her. She does not want to be with this man, and she's now in a new relationship. And he has made decision to basically balls to the wall, decided to leave his wife and his family and his kids and move on because he is now in love with this young lady. This is the scenario. And it's complicated for a couple of reasons. It's complicated because, one, she doesn't want to be with him anymore. But she had a fling with this man while he was, quote unquote, separated and hadn't yet gotten a divorce in this gray area that we've been talking about. And now he's made the decision, or she kind of made a decision for him, to go back to his family. Well, when he went back to his family, he realized that wasn't what he wanted either. And now she's moved on, but he wants to be back in the relationship. So now, messing in this gray area of entanglement where things are not 100% done, we're not 100% through with each other, we have yet another mess. A wife, a husband, kids, and a new partner, all entangled in the mess because we dealt in this gray, muddy area where things weren't really clear. Papers hadn't really been filed yet. And now everybody's trying to figure out how to clean it up.
Okay, so this scenario is interesting for a few reasons. One, sounds like she's 40-somethings, right?
Correct.
Two, you said he was 69. The wife, who must be younger,
she is,
comes in with children that are young enough to be in a car, right? So they're not toddlers because you wouldn't leave them in a car by themselves. So they're probably like, somewhere along the lines of between 6 and 14 per se. So then you have small children. So one, the 69-year-old man, he likes younger women. We see that. And nothing wrong with that. You can be 69 and you can have you a 30-something woman. Hey, you like it. I love it. But what probably happened from the wife's perspective is she did not know about this affair. She did not know. She found out. And so she decided, I'm going over there. I am going over there. I'm going to confront this woman. How dare you, you little hussy, coming after my man, trying to break up a happy home. Don't you see these two kids back here in the van? Don't you see what home you're breaking up? And so, one, if my husband cheats on me and I find out, yeah, I'm going over there. I'm going over there. I want her to see me.
Really?
Girl, let me tell you, you're going to see me and you're going to know who I am and you're going to know that I know. So I'm either going to call you or I'm going over there. Absolutely. Now, I might not go over there, especially not initially, but, I'm calling you. Oh, I'm letting you know.
Really?
Oh, I'm picking the phone up and calling.
So let me interject for a second, Nicole. I am of the thought process I didn't make a vow with you. You are cheating with my husband. I did not walk down the aisle and tell before God and my family and tell them that I was going to be faithful to you. I made the vow to my husband. So I'm not addressing her. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm going to confront him too.
I'm going to confront him too. Husband's head off.
But I am then going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call and I'm going to let her know that I know.
I want
everyone to stay away from my husband. I'm going to tell her.
I wish everybody could see you, Nicole, because Nicole has picked up her phone and is waving her phone because she's so passionate about this. I mean, literally has picked up phone.
There are women that are truly, they don't care if you're married or not. They are seeking out these men that appear to be stable because they want to be stable. And so they're after these men. And I'm not saying that what he did was right, but if you don't think I'm going to pick up the phone and let her know that I know, oh, you are mistaken. I'm going to let her know. And I'm going to let my husband know. Even if I'm done with him, I'm going to let him know and I'm going to let her know that I know. So, yeah. It's not like I'm going to let her know and then I'm not going to say anything to him and I'm going to carry on as usual. Like some people try to I'm going to put on lingerie and I'm going to get my husband back and I'm going to seduce him to stay with me. You can't do that. right? You cannot make a man love you. But I am going to let her know that I know, and I am going to let her know that she played a part in this, because this works two ways. You have to have two people to cheat. So I am going to let her know that she played a part in it, but I'm also going to let my husband know that he's a dirty dog and he shouldn't have done that. And my husband knows me. I'm going to let him know. And I'm going to tell him probably to get out. And then I'm going to have to really take some time with God, and I'm going to have to really pray. And it's going to come down to, if my husband doesn't want me and he doesn't want to be with me, then we need to split, right? Because I'm not going to make anybody be somewhere that they don't want to be. But if he's remorseful and he wants to still be in the marriage, then I really have to take some time and have a come to Jesus moment with myself and go to counseling, pray about it, and really make some tough decisions to know what I am able to work through and what I will not work through. And I do think that marriages can work through almost anything. I'm a firm believer in that, if both people are willing to work. But like I say, he has to feel remorseful, and he has to admit his wrongs, and he has to want to work through it in order for the wife to even consider working through it. So in your situation, it sounds like her husband did not want to work through it. Her husband was done with her. And so she was lashing out probably after the fact. She probably lashed out on her husband already. She was lashing out at this woman and telling her what she did. Now, I don't agree with going to someone and like physically attacking them, right? But I will go up there and be like, you know, can I have a word with you? I'm Miss Plenty, actually Dr. Plenty. And you're the woman that's been sleeping with my husband. And I want you to know that he and I are no longer together. He has told me that he wants to be with you. But I do want you to know that I have these two kids over here. He has an obligation to them, emotionally and financially. And so this, if you are moving forward with this relationship, this is what you've signed up for. So don't act brand new when you have to pay my alimony and my child support, because this is what it is. So I wouldn't go to somebody and physically attack them or even curse them out, but I'm going to let them know, because I don't want them to think that, oh, we're doing something exotic and we're being, you know, mysterious, and this is exciting because your wife doesn't know about it. No, I know. So if you choose to do it, that's fine. We're going to take some legal action and we're going to move on. But the other part is, she was fine with taking the big chunk of money to buy the boat, right? She got the boat. I didn't hear you say she gave it back. She's still talking to him as a friend because of COVID. So for him, he's probably thinking, oh, we're not together anymore because of COVID. Like, I don't see her because of COVID, not because she doesn't want to talk to me. So this man is super confused right now. He's probably still giving this woman money. He's bought her all these things. And for some reason, she in her head thinks that they are not together anymore. So she's sleeping with somebody else over here on the side, or I guess they're both on the side. But she has another relationship over here, but she hasn't made it clear to him what her intentions are, because I'm sure that he wouldn't still be trying to communicate with her. I'm sure he still wouldn't be trying to leave his wife and tell his wife he's going to this woman. He would just leave his wife and go to some other woman. So I think that that picture is interesting, because I think that this friend of a friend is, you know, a little sketchy, because she took too much money and she's trying to keep it friendly to not have to give the money back. And she's trying to keep her pockets replenished, you know, on a ongoing basis. And so, you know, maybe that's why. I don't necessarily like that this friend of a friend has taken advantage. I mean, what would you do? Like, if you were this man's wife, I mean, what would you think?
I think I have a certain amount of pride that I'm not going to chase a man or try to persuade him to be with me. I just feel like there's somehow a piece of my soul that will be ripped out if I have to try to convince my husband to be with me. That's just me personally. That's how I am. That's how I feel. My pride just won't let me continue to haggle for my relationship. I just can't do it. Now, if the back and forth and we let him back in and he left initially and so on and so forth, it just seems like too much drama. And in the way that my brain is set up, I can't go and forget the drama from the past of the time when you left before to be with this woman. So I just and know that how I am. And I know that every single time that I look at you and every single time I don't know where you are or what you're doing, or you came home late or there's no explanation for A, B, and C, my mind is going to go back to that initial situation where you left to be with this particular woman. So our relationship is never going to be whole again, because unless I'm going through years and years and years of therapy, which by that time the relationship would have disintegrated to pretty much nothing, it's just not going to work for me anymore. That's me personally. I also don't believe in confronting the other woman. I don't have any allegiance to her. I might not even know her. And the truth of the matter is, she owes me absolutely nothing. If my husband is able to get away with whatever it is, whatever relationship he had with her, and I either allowed it to happen because I didn't know, or I allowed it to happen because I just didn't care, or whatever the circumstances are, or even if I didn't allow it to happen, if it just was what happened, that's my burden to bear with my husband, I feel like. And the truth of the matter is, I don't have any kids. So there's, we have assets, but we split those up and we keep it moving. I'm just like, I want a clean cut. I'm all about a clean cut. If we're done, let's create closure and move on with our lives. I'm not going to go to, with kids in tow or not. If I had kids, with kids in tow or not, I'm not going to confront her. She can feel like she got away with whatever it is that she feel like she got away with, because usually from what I've seen in my life, in the end, the person that's on the side, or the person that is dealing with the person that is the cheater, oftentimes ends up in a hurt, painful situation. Because guess what? The truth of the matter is, the age-old saying, if he cheats with you, he's going to cheat on you. So good luck. I feel like your karma's going to come and I don't have to be involved.
Well, it doesn't even seem like she wants him. So she's just using him.
Right, but she has money. The lady that accepted the money for the boat, she has money. He just gave her that money for, I guess, the balance of the boat. So she's not hurting for coins. But again, let me also say this. I'm not 100% sure that she doesn't do this in all of her relationships. I'm not 100% sure that she doesn't work for, the things that she needs, but get money from men, or the men that she's in a relationship with, for, luxury splurges. It's happened before.
So if you're in a relationship with a man and he treats you and gives you gifts, I'm all for that, right? Because if I'm dating you, I am going to expect you to splurge on me a little bit. Absolutely. But if you're making this a habit and you're in relationships with much older men because you know that they're going to splurge on you more, and now you factor this into your daily budget, there's a problem here, right? So if you're doing stuff and turning tricks, and it's because you're getting favors, and you do this every relationship, well, that's called prostitution. I don't think that that's legal.
Really? You think it's prostitution?
I think that if you're doing something with because you know that you're going to get some favor behind it, like, that is selling sex. Absolutely.
How is that any different than expecting a man to pay for dinner or dates because you know that you're getting some sort of sexual favor at the end? I don't think it's prostitution.
Okay, so I don't agree with that either, because if you pay for my dinner or you buy me some drinks, that does not equate to me having sex with you. Like,
I agree with that, but the intention for the man to pay is what? Generally.
What do you mean?
Generally, why do you think that men would just pay? Be honest. Do you think that men are just out here paying for dates and dinner and splurging on women because they don't think that they're getting the yams at the end of the day?
Well, anybody that's gone on a date with me, they know that you get no yams, no cookies at the end of the day. Okay, that just did not happen, and you're still expected to front the bill, at least initially. I think it's different when you're in a relationship. Yeah, there's a lot of give and take, but if you're trying to court me, you're going to pay the bill, and no, you shouldn't have the expectation of getting the cookies at the end of the night.
Well, maybe not immediately though, Nicole, but don't you think that that's the end game at some point?
Oh, but that's the end game to dating in general, right? That's the end game to dating. Even if you are trying to save yourself for marriage, you get married so that end game can be permanent cookies. Okay. So yes, in that respect, yes. But if you're doing this like this woman is, habitually doing things with people she knows she doesn't want to be in a committed relationship with, letting them grow feelings and saying that she's in a relationship with them, and then secretly pulling out of that relationship so secretly that this man has left his wife for you and he doesn't understand that y'all are not in a relationship. Well, that's a problem. That means that you have not been clear about your expectations, that you have not been clear about your desires, and you confused this man, and now he's leaving his wife. And I'm not saying that he's leaving his wife because of her. Obviously, they must have some issues in their marriage, and he was going to leave anyway. The other woman never is the person that's forcing the man to leave. The man leaves when he's ready to leave. So I'm not saying that she's the reason, but you know at the end of the day whether you would be accepting of him if he wasn't married. And you had to have known that he was married when you started sleeping with them.
That's that gray area separation. I'm telling you, I want the ink dry on your divorce papers before I start talking to you. You're listening to the best of episode of season 1 of Oh, That's Deep, Black Women Conversations, the podcast. So I'm a middle-aged African-American woman. Let's just say I was born before the internet, who was married to an Irish Catholic man. I'm from Philadelphia, and my husband is from Stroudsburg, PA, a small town outside of the Poconos. I say this because prior to our meeting in the PA National Guard, my husband had rarely encountered African Americans outside of what he saw on television or at the local grocery store. As I said, we met in the Pennsylvania National Guard and we married in 2010. Outside of our initial conversations, when we met and the obligatory conversations with one another's parents, we haven't really discussed race until recently. With everything that's going on, my husband has been extremely supportive and has even gone as far to research ways to explain racism to our 3 beautiful children, all under the age of 10. My husband is an amazing provider for our family, and he is loving and supportive to me and our children. However, I'm not sure that I want to stay married. I recently received orders to deploy, and when I went to go pull my duffel and trunk from our attic, I found some letters that my husband had received when he was deployed in Afghanistan. In the letters, my husband's friend referred to me as his N-word whore and said that I'm sure he couldn't wait to get home to have me, quote, slaving in the kitchen. I brought this to my husband's attention after several weeks of contemplation. However, my husband continues to insist that he's not racist, and he's learned since then. I can't understand why my husband doesn't see that this is a big issue, and why he can't understand why I'm upset that he continues to be friends with this man. I mean, for goodness sakes, this man has been in our home and has watched our children. I truly love my husband, I really do, but I'm not sure that I can continue this marriage if he continues to be friends with this man.
Okay, that shouldn't even be a question. So if I tell my husband, I don't like that friend, I don't want this person at my house anymore, that's a wrap. That's all it should take. Your husband should be able to say, okay, I understand. I won't talk to this person anymore. They won't be welcome in our house. We're not friends anymore. Like, I don't understand if you have somebody that is going to offend your mate, they're out of there. But if your friend was so comfortable with putting that in writing, he didn't just tell you, he put this in writing. Okay. So it is eternally etched somewhere. There's a problem with that. That means that your husband has been talking to his friend about this. So they've been small talking about you and things that you do for him. Oh yeah, I can't wait to, you can't wait to get her slaving in the kitchen. Your little N-word, That means that you've been having some small talk, like I'm like some aphrodisiac and you married me to be your like permanent concubine. But realistically, you're thinking, this is just some little, black whore that I married. That's a problem. I would check my husband.
I agree. And the first thing that I thought was, you have to be very confident in yourself to know that your husband is not a racist, right? Or to not assume that your husband is a racist. However, the reality is people do change. There are probably things that I said that, have been offensive in the past, or that were in ill will, I guess, as a child or as a teenager. People are evil. You know, when you're in high school, things are evil. You know, people are evil. And oftentimes, you know, when you're in stressful environments, and I'm going to say stressful environments because we assume that this is, you know, deployment was stressful. You can say things that might not necessarily, or entertain things that might not necessarily be in your natural character, right? But then you start getting into excuses. So if you make an excuse for the friend, then you make an excuse for the husband. And you don't know what their conversation has been in the past. You don't know what they've said to each other. Do you trust your husband and just assume that he is telling you the truth and he has your best interest at heart because he's never displayed otherwise? And just assume that he has a friend that's just a jerk? Or do you delve deeper into it and ask and find, well, what's the other side of the letter say? Do you ever know? Is it ever going to come out? And if this person has never displayed racist behavior to you prior to this, do you just throw them out with the bathwater? What do you do?
I wish people could see my face right now. I wish people could see my face right now. Let me describe
Nicole's face. Nicole's face is like perplexed and frustrated and surprised and angry and a bunch of like emotions all jumbled up as she covers her face and tries to not blurt out what she has to say in her head. Go ahead, Nicole.
Because I'm trying to think through this to process it. So let's backtrack. Okay, they have kids. How long have they been married again?
Since 2010.
So 10 years they've been married. Mm-hmm. They have 2 children together.
3.
He was 3. And he was deployed. Obviously, if somebody's writing him letters, that other person's not deployed, right?
Correct.
The other person is sitting in their home in a non-stressful environment and writing the letter. So whether her husband is in a stressful environment doesn't explain the words of the friend that's sitting at home on his comfortable sofa writing this letter. He's not in distress and he's using racist tone. So your husband may, and I don't even think that's an excuse that he accepts it because he's in a stressful environment, because that's not funny. That's not entertaining. So let's separate the husband for a second.
Okay.
So the friend is not in a stressful environment. The friend obviously feels comfortable putting these words in writing. So that means that he's tested the words before, probably face to face, and he knows that these words are going to be okay. All right. So he puts the words in writing and sends them overseas, right? Etched for all the world to see if they find it. Then your husband doesn't get offended. Now back to the husband. Doesn't get offended. Keeps the words with him, right? All this time. Folds it up neatly in his pocket. Cherishing these words and keeping these words with them. And he's trying to make excuses for it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? Well, hell yes. Because eventually it's going to come out. Eventually racism will rear its head. Eventually. Now understand that this is a difficult situation. She's been married to this man for a decade. She has 3 beautiful children by this man. And what does she tell her children? I get that. But they're going to have to go through some serious counseling to get to the bottom of this, to figure out what's really in her husband's heart as to why he doesn't feel okay erasing this friendship. Because that's not only racist comments towards the wife, it's racist comments towards the children as well, because those are black children. Okay. Right. So if you have any tinge of black, even if you're passe blanc, as we say in the South, you're still black. Okay. You're still black and your children are black. So that means that this friend doesn't like his children. I have a problem with you not trying to defend at least your children and what they are. So I have my own opinion about that. I understand that in marriage, you have to accept some things and work through some things. I get it, but that's going to be a big one to work through. So I understand your friend of a friend. See, your friend of a friend probably would be my friend because me and her are thinking alike, right? I can't deal with it. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm a bounce. So we're on the same page. So me and your friend of a friend can be friends.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying that I would stay because you never know what you're going to do until you're in the situation, right? So
Sure.
I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you cannot necessarily assume that the husband is racist. I take a couple of things into consideration. One, it's likely that the person, a friend, is probably in the military. They probably have a camaraderie and a brotherhood that we probably cannot even understand or conceptualize being civilians. So let's just say that. Pause. Okay. Nicole's face is saying, I don't care what kind of brotherhood they have. Okay. So the second thing is, we don't know how the husband responded. We don't know if he defended his wife, if he defended his kids. We don't know any of that, right? We don't have that information. So we're just going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And then 3, I will say this. Birds of a feather often flock together. However, there are times where, there's a group of people and 4 of the 5 seem to be one way. And then there's always that wild card. And they've just been a part of the group for so many years, so you kind of just keep them around. It happens. I mean, it happens with men as they get, married, and then they have that one single friend that's still out there wilding, doing anything and everything, but it's their friend. I don't know. I don't know that you throw, have we known this friend longer than we've known the wife?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Think about it. That one black cop who people are like, oh, I didn't realize that one of them was black. In the George Floyd case, right? His excuse, which sounds very much so like this one, is he was just basically going with the flow. This was the culture of the police department there. So when you're in it, you do as they do. Not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Mm-hmm. He's arrested with the rest of his buddies. It is not an excuse. And we have to stop standing by allowing a culture that's a negative culture to keep being passed down from person to person, year after year, decade after decade, just because that was the culture. It's time to change the culture. So, yes, I understand that military, like the police force, have this camaraderie, and you don't want to be this person that's like the outcast of the group. I get that. But right is right and wrong is wrong, and you have to have standards at some point in your life. There has to be something that tells you, okay, this is where the buck stops. It stops right here. I'm not going any further. That is, out of line. And if you're married to a black woman, the racist comments should be where it stops. So I don't get it. And she's not calling her husband racist in the scenario that you pointed out. Now, I said what I said. And for me, he must have some type of underlying racism himself if he can't get rid of that friendship. So the only thing that makes it an issue is that he can't get rid of the friendship. That's her issue. Her issue is not that he can't say that, he's not a racist, or he can't say that his friend is not a racist. She just wants him to get rid of the friend because there's no way to know. This person is around my kids. I don't want him around. And her husband is saying he won't do it. Maybe I'm tripping.
You're listening to the best of episode of season 1 of Oh That's Deep, Black Women Conversations, the podcast.
Ladies, I need help. I'm not sure my relationship is going to make it. My long-term boyfriend and I have been together on and off since high school. We're now in our 30s, so we've been together between 8 and 13 years, depending on how you want to count it. Here lately, our sex life has been very boring. I find myself faking orgasms and using excuses to avoid sex. I hinted at using toys, but my boyfriend said men don't use sex toys. What he doesn't know is that I use them without him. on nights I turn him down, it's usually because I have already gotten off earlier during the day with Big Mike, my vibrating dildo. I feel guilty about it, but also so good, if you know what I mean. How can I spice up my sex life with my boyfriend and or make him more open to using sex toys in the bedroom?
Leave him.
Dr. Donna, you said leave him?
Dr. Donna.
All right, I bet I was just mean. I was mean for a second. I'm gonna back check it. Cause you're right. That ain't right. Don't take that advice, sis. Don't take that advice. So, I like to preface this by saying that whatever you take of this advice is your responsibility.
Right. Right.
Amen.
I am a therapist. I am not your therapist. So let's start there. But what I'm hearing, like when I hear something like this, of course I would want a whole lot more information, but I'm like, what is going on in your relationship that the sex has gotten to the place where it is boring? And is the boring you? Is the boring them? Is the boring a combination of things? Because right now what I'm hearing is that there's generally a lack of communication about what she wants and what she needs, and maybe a lack of communication about what he likes and what he wants and what he needs. So if his needs are being fulfilled, he's not saying the reason to do anything different. You are out here faking orgasm, then you are giving permission for boring sex to continue.
Yeah.
How can anyone know to do something different or know that you need something different if you are putting on Oscar Academy worthy performances about the sex that you are receiving? If you don't like it, you have to speak up. And sometimes it's as simple as, move to the left. Don't move. Stay right there. Kiss me right here. Do that a little harder. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you have to say it. Sometimes you say it in the moment, and sometimes you have to say it outside of there. I generally recommend a yes, no, maybe list. I swear I talk about the yes, no, maybe list all the time. But it has a list of sexual acts. Usually the ones that I've seen are in alphabetical order. But it gives you an opportunity to have a longer conversation. They would do one, you would do one, and then you come back together. Glass of wine in hand, light a candle, put some slow jazz or something on in the background, and have a conversation about what it is that you both are in agreement with. Like, yes, talk about those maybes and respect the boundary of the no's. Being able to have that conversation, then you can see like, oh yeah, I would be interested in trying that once. Oh, well, what's this? I would like to try that once. Now you are bringing in new ideas into the bedroom, and you can together do the research about how to make it happen, about what is going to be necessary to make that sex act happen, et cetera, et cetera. These are that's just one way to have that conversation. You could also do a pleasure map together, mapping the pleasure points on each other's bodies, what you like to experience on this part of the body versus that part of the body. Now, Afrosexology has a great workbook called Solo Sex. And in Solo Sex, it has a pleasure map. And while it may be about solo sex, the skills you learn in solo sex can be very easily translated to partnered sex. Vagesteem, Vanessa Vagesteem has a class on pleasure mapping. So, you gotta obviously get on the mailing list so that you don't miss out, because let me tell you, them tickets, they be gone. They be gone. She has a great pleasure mapping class. You and your boo thing, y'all sit together, you watch it together, you learn a little bit something about each other. You get to be in a fun environment learning while at the same time improving your sex life. There are plenty of opportunities to learn and to come together in what it is that you're wanting to do sexually that would allow you to expand the conversation and expand both of y'all's skill sets while being subtle about it. You gotta say what is working and what's not working, so that you can actually do something to resolve it. And where it comes to the sex toys, when I hear, oh, no, because real men don't use sex toys, I'm like, real men also want to do what they can to make sure that their partners are pleased. And if your partner is not willing to do what is pleasurable for you, what I'm hearing is he don't really care about your pleasure. That's why my first thought was leave him. He don't care about you. He is having pleasure, and so he is not worried about your pleasure. And to me, that's an alarm bell, because if he's not worried about your pleasure here, chances are that is a universal problem, because what happens here tends to go in other places. So if he's not worried about your pleasure here, he's probably not worried about what you want, need,
or what would bring you happiness in other spaces. But the same is true for you, sis, faking orgasms. If you're faking it here, where else in your relationship are you faking it? Both of y'all are responsible for your sex life right now, and I need y'all to get it together.
Wow, Dr. Donna, that's crazy that you turned it like that, because you don't ever really think about it like that.
Let me tell you that people have whole relationships on Facebook, can't stand each other in real life.
Ooh, you so right.
Oh, we talk about
I'm
this
looking like,
all
don't
the
talk to
time.
me about the fact that y'all not having sex. I'm looking like, do you even like them?
You right.
You faking orgasms, and they are content to continue because you are giving confirmation that they are doing a bang up job.
So it sounds like, because I know this listener is sort of sounded like she's trying to figure out how to discreetly say it. But from what I'm hearing you say, Dr. Donna, because you know I'm blunt too, is she has got to address the issue head on, whether that's through going to counseling or bringing it up directly and saying, hey, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
And let's work on our problem.
Now, I gave the subtle way, right? I mean, you can watch a little porn together and be like, "Oh, I want to try that. Oh, I think we got this. We got this better than them. Come on, let's do a play by play. We got to blow this couple out the water. We know what we doing. You can get a Cosmo magazine. All they do is talk about sex. So pick an article. Be like, you see this? Let's try this. I'm gonna try this. Let's bring this into the bedroom. Let's give it a try, and let's give a rating system. You can ask about your performance in the bedroom. What do you like about our sex life? What would you love to see changed or improved? You bring it in as a conversation about you, and then you also get to do tit for tat. Like, you know what I like about our sex life is this. This makes me really happy. I believe in a compliment sandwich, right? You know, you give the stroke, you give the great feedback, you go on and tell them this is not working, and then you end with a little bit of positive. So positive, a little bit of here's your improvement space, and positive again. I don't always do that. I believe in an open face sandwich. So I might give you the compliment, but I'm looking like I don't want us to miss that this is what is missing in what we're doing. So let me bring this back forward, full circle. This don't work. How will we fix it? That's where I am.
I like that compliment sandwich. Here's the thing. I'm not as direct. Well, I take that back. I'm probably as direct as both of you. I don't like hurting people's feelings. And oftentimes we know that men's ego is wrapped up in their performance. So I don't really know how to broach the subject of being like, you know what, this sex is kind of whack.
I think that's where Dr. Donna's like, yes, no, maybe list. That's actually a good, like, no one's beating each other up about that, right? It's like, just like, what would you be willing to try?
I agree, but he seems to be pretty close-minded. His first response was, men don't need sex toys. It doesn't seem like he's super open-minded. So, yes.
That's why I say leave.
And
you
Dr. Donna, honestly, I kind of, after we talked about this for a while, I kind of am going with your first thought. I think this you all are just boyfriend and girlfriend. Girl, there are plenty of fish in the sea.
If sex is important to you and your partner is not willing to help you with the thing that is important to you, why are they your partner?
Yeah.
They're not willing to invest time or put aside their ego for your pleasure and happiness. What is the purpose? I'm like, this is a moment of compromise. It's not asking too much to say that I want there to be actual concerted efforts toward meeting it. And I definitely understand the part where people say, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings. But here's the thing. The only person's feelings that you're truly responsible for are your own. Mm-hmm. And if you have healthy boundaries and you are not a whole, as I like to say, then you are able to communicate with other people about what your needs are in a way that does not belittle or put them down. Their feelings might be hurt, but you know what? Sometimes that's the consequence when we are messed up just a little bit in something that we're doing. Yes, if somebody tells me that, oh, that thing that you said really hurt my feelings, I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt, but I meant what I said. What can we do in the future to mitigate this? But your feelings are your own. So sometimes, yes, your feelings are hurt, especially when we get feedback about ourselves, when we thought that we was doing the daggone thing and somebody's just like, actually, you're not. Yes, it hurts our feelings because we are now being brought to a new reality. And that does not mean that you don't tell people about the reality that you are experiencing with them, it means that it is up to them on what they are going to do with the information you just provided. What you do does not help me. I like this instead. Would you like, let's try this instead because this is what I need. Oh no, I don't do that. Now it's not even an ultimatum. It's my boundary is this. I appreciate and I respect that is not something that you do, but it is something that I need and because of that, I'm going to have to say that we need to part ways. I have really enjoyed our time together, but this does not work for me. And I need to make sure that you also find something that works for you.
I agree with that. I mean, but you have to give them the opportunity because we don't know how she broached this subject, right, of the sex toys. You know, it could have been a joke. It could have been something in passing. So I think she has to present the opportunity first, which is why I like the suggestions Dr. Donna gave. So give him the opportunity first. But if he has a closed mind to it, then that's when you say, okay, well, this is what I need. And if you're not willing to give me what I need, then you got to move on. But give him the opportunity to actually say yes or no. And then it's sort of show and tell. Because if a man wants to stay with you, they will do what it takes to make sure that you are fulfilled.
Well, people in general are taught that once you know how to have sex with one person, now you know how to have sex with anybody. And that can be furthest from the truth. Yeah. Everybody has a different body. And if we are not honoring that because we are treating people the way we would like to treat them, right? Because we say things like, treat people the way you want to be treated. And I'm like, no, treat people the way they want to be treated.
Yes,
and that
Dr.
includes
Donna.
the bedroom.
Yes,
that includes the bedroom. So if you're treating them the way they want to be treated, do you know what that means? It means that you're asking them questions. Let me learn about you. How do you pleasure yourself? This is where masturbation comes right back in. How do you pleasure yourself? What do you like? How do you like your body to be touched? Teach me your pleasure map so that I can help to bring you pleasure. But what you don't know, you can't tell nobody. And if you're unwilling to talk about the things that bring you pleasure, you are now setting yourself up. Because now they have to guess, which means they have to go by the pleasure map of however many other people that they've had sex with to figure out what you like.
And none of those people are you.
And if they were faking it too, a disservice to your community.
That's so funny.
Oh, I like that. You're listening to the best of episode of season 1 of Oh, That's Deep, Black Women Conversations, the podcast. Hi, ladies. I'm a 32-year-old woman, and my husband and I have been together for 7 years. He has a best friend, Brandon, who is married to my best friend, Crystal. My husband and I met through our friends, Brandon and Crystal. So we are extremely close, and we do a whole lot of things together as couples. About a month ago, Brandon called my husband upset because he suspected that Crystal was cheating on him. She claims that she wasn't cheating, but she did admit to having an inappropriate conversation with someone that she worked with. I talked to her and she talked to Brandon, and she swore that she had not had any physical contact with him and that she would end the communication. Well, 4 days ago, Brandon and Crystal called us, and in the conversation, Brandon worked in asking my husband if Crystal had met her to drop off my daughter's birthday gift. My husband said, yes. Now I know that they were lying because 1, my husband is a terrible liar, so Brandon probably knows that he's lying too. But 2, and more importantly is I know that she's lying because I literally just yesterday picked up my child's birthday gift from Crystal. Initially, I kept quiet to not get involved, but then when I started thinking about it, it bothered me that they were somehow sneaking around and I was unaware of what was going on. When I talked to my husband about it, he immediately became defensive and he said that he was just helping her out because Brandon tends to be a little bit controlling. As I said, my husband isn't a good liar, so I knew that this was BS. When I told him that I was going to tell Brandon, he said that I shouldn't do that. I was going to mess up a whole lot of things. We eventually argued and I told him that I didn't trust him. If you would cover up for her, then you could probably also be covering up for yourself. Hell, how do I know that my husband isn't cheating? How do I know that my husband isn't cheating with her? I moved into our guest room and haven't really spoken to my husband in the last 4 days. He keeps saying that he doesn't understand why I think that it's such a big deal as he's not the one having an affair. Ladies, how do I explain to my husband why I'm so upset with him? More importantly, how can I trust him? Am I overreacting? Why did my friend not tell me what's going on? Please help me before I slay. It's funny because she has it in quotes. Slay both my husband and my best friend, Mila.
Your husband cheating with your friend, girl. Your husband is definitely cheating with your friend. Because, I mean, I don't know any man
that is not regularly conversing with someone or has feelings for someone that's going to just on a whim lie for you. That's like you and your husband, Janine, and then me and my husband all being a group of friends. And I'm lying to my husband and my husband calling your husband and saying, hey, were you with Nicole on such day and she dropped this package off to you? And your husband will say, oh yeah, I was with her. No, he's not. He's going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, because that's not his friend. Girl, the only reason that he lied on a whim is because he's protecting himself. This is his side lover. And they're both lying. But let me tell you something. I'm not moving out of my bedroom. You gonna get out and he is gonna go to the guest bedroom. Ain't no woman supposed to move out of their bedroom. What is she doing? She's making this too easy. He's sitting up on the phone all night in their bedroom talking. Why? Because she's in the guest bedroom. And now he has the freedom to do whatever he wants in the comforts of his own bedroom. So now she has to come to the bedroom to get her clothes and then go and take a shower. She has to come to the bedroom and get her makeup and bring it somewhere else. No, you're making this way too convenient for him. You should have made him sleep on the sofa or in the guest bedroom. But yeah, girl, they're cheating.
So do you think that there was really no one at work? It was really her husband all along?
It could have been somebody else. She sounded like she got whole tendencies too. I'm just saying.
Well, here's the thing though. That's the issue, right? So two sets of friends are married to one another. So do you want to keep status quo and keep your families together? Or do you want to say something? Because it never said that she actually said anything, right? It said that she was uneasy with it. And so she suggested that she was going to say something to Brandon, but her husband was like, you're going to mess things up. So do you say something? Like, do you just quietly depart the relationship yourself? Like, how does she move forward?
I would confront them both. I would literally exclude Brandon from the conversation and talk to Crystal and my husband and say, hey girl, can you come over today for coffee? We just want to catch up. And when she got over there, I would say, hey, come out the bedroom. Let's talk. So I don't know what y'all were doing on the phone the other day, but I know that y'all were lying, because you gave me that gift, the one you lied about and said you dropped off to my husband as a cover. So are y'all sleeping together or is something else going on? I want to know now. I will put it out. See what happens then.
Yeah.
See who's looking at who.
I think that's smart to bring them together, because then you can gauge body language and you can see who starts squirming. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And she said that her husband's not a good liar. So you know that it's going to come out. Like, come on.
Right.
Now.
It's going to come out. And it's not about like, oh, we're going to keep the friendship together. You better worry about your marriage. Why
I know.
are you worried about this friendship?
7 years in. But here's the thing. I mean, if they've been friends for 20 some years and they've only been married for 7 years, I mean, do you hold on to the friendship with the whole tendency chick, or do you? And here's the other thing. If they are cheating though, can we really be friends again? Like if you're sleeping with my husband, can we salvage this friendship? Is that even a thing?
No, that's not a thing. If you are sleeping with my husband, friendship over. Marriage might be over. So no, you never go trust her around your man again. If I can't trust you around my kids or my man, then you don't need to be at my house, period. And I don't want to be your friend, because when you talk to me about your relationship, the only thing I'm going to say is, well, the reason your relationship is messed up is because you slept with my husband.
Yeah, you're right. We like that karma is sucking, right? Remember that time when you thought that it was a good idea to sleep with my husband? That's why this is happening.
I might stab you and then hire some, Chris Stewart attorney to get me off for temporary insanity. I'm just saying, like, that is not something you do. You don't sleep with somebody else's husband, especially your friend's husband. That's just downright dirty. That's just nasty, dirty.
Well, Mila said, I thought it was so cute because she put slay in parentheses, but she said, please help me before I slay my husband and my best friend. Like, I don't know, though. If your best friend, though, Nicole, your best friend probably took a bath with you when you were a child. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I would be able to let my best friend go. But we all know that Janine has issues with friendship boundaries. So,
well, I have a really good friend that he and his brother have married family members. And this friend is now having trouble with his wife. Of course, when I talk to him, I'm like, you realize that's going to mess up the whole family dynamic.
Absolutely.
If you and your wife split. Like, what happens because your brother is also married to a family member? So how is that going to be? Like, when you go to your brother's house, this family member of your wives is there? Or if your brother and his wife come down, are they coming to your house? Are they coming to your wife's house? I mean, how is that going to work? I just feel like it's going to get messy. But at the end of the day, he's like, you know, I have to do what makes me happy, and they're not in my marriage. And I was like, that's real.
That is very real. Like he said, it's his marriage. So unless you're about to sit over here and deal with whatever drama we have and pay these bills, no opinions am I accepting. Okay?
Right. I just don't believe that somebody should stay in a toxic situation because it's going to wreak havoc on the family in general. I feel like the family in general, that extended family, will be okay. Eventually they'll be okay. Eventually you'll figure out like, okay, when I go home and go to my brother's house, I can't stay at his house. I'm just going to stay in a hotel.
In your scenario, you're like, they're brothers, right? So like the brothers, it's like, that's literal bros before hoes, right? Like they're no matter what each other does, they're still going to be brothers. That's just how this works, right? So if one relationship works out or the other one doesn't, they're still going to be brothers. Maybe it's your best friend or you're really close with your best friend. You're going to lose your best friend because your man was crazy and couldn't keep his Peter in his pants?
Hell yes.
Okay,
yes.
So you keep him or you keep her or you don't keep either one of them?
You don't keep either one of them. My thing is a toxic relationship is a toxic relationship. Okay, so if you have a friend that, let's say, Janine, you and I, friends like sisters, right? If you slept with my husband, we are no longer sister friends.
We're no longer friends.
We're no longer friends. And guess what? My husband is now my ex-husband.
Yeah. You know, Nicole, I always have
If I slept with your husband, you would not be my friend anymore.
Yes, I agree. But Nicole, you know that I struggle with these like cutoff boundaries, right? Like we know this.
And I'm gonna help you.
We know this.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you because you need help. Because what good is it going to be holding on to a friendship that didn't value you enough to respect you? Because that's a level of respect. I don't care how horny you get. There are vibrators for that. There are apps for that. You can find somebody to sleep with, okay? But you want what I have, and so you try to dismantle what I have going on. That's not right. That's not a friend. That's somebody trying to see you suffer. That's somebody trying to take what you have. That's not right.
I agree.
No,
I agree.
So I say dismantle the friendship if you're going to have your life uprooted, because then you can't trust that friend ever. That friend is not going to come back around and be a friend. Don't worry. If you're ever in that situation, as a friend, I would help you figure that out.
Okay, Nicole. I hope that I'm never in that situation.
Yay!
The best of episode of season 1 of Oh That's Deep, Black Women Conversations, the podcast.
Don't forget to share with your friends, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Until we meet again,
pray, work, slay,
and show off your melanated excellence.
Bye!
Bye!
Oh That's Deep, Black Women Conversations is produced by Nicole Lee Plenty and Janine Brunson Johnson. Executive producer, Ken Johnson. Get the Oh That's Deep Black Women Conversation podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or where you get your podcasts. Please subscribe and rate us. You can follow Oh That's Deep Black Women Conversations on IG at Oh That's Deep BWC. Oh That's Deep Black Women Conversations is a Mean Old Lion Media production.